you are accessing the VOD, because no one's here yet, if uh, you obviously just got this notification. So today we are going to be talking about investments. This is something that's been requested by several of the people in my normal streams because I do a lot of investments, and I just want to show people uh, some of the uh, some of the results that I was able to achieve over the last year, and then talk about different ways to invest and do it in a way that's protecting my account's identity and stuff. I figured out how to get certain accounts off of here and stuff and make it so that it's appropriate to view. I'm not trying to brag. I'm trying to just answer questions and educate people about trading stocks and stuff. Normally, I'm a fucking entertainment gaming stream. I just like to drink and play games or play during my lunch break, and that's the difference between this and other streams. And normally I also have my face on there, but I do not want my face getting in the way of any data that I'm showing today, so I'm not going to be putting my face on this fucking stream. And well, you can see last year's performance if you like, but anyway, let's have a look at the last. Let's look since Corona, for example, at this account versus that account of whichever the um, averages. So we got several averages here that we can compare my account gains from the last year. Actually, it's the last half year. I achieved a 24.57% gain since July of 2020, um, and that's a pretty good gain. And you can see a lot of this uh, stays pretty even, and that's because I kind of pulled out for a portion of this time and I did not do a lot of trading. I started trading again around this period, and I've been able to make quite a bit compared to what the Dow average is. And right now, I'm actually just touching the NASDAQ average, and this has gone down significantly. If you combine my second account, which has other investments in it that are a little bit uh, it's focused mainly on big tech. It actually goes up to about 45% return for the year. So that's cool, but unfortunately, that's actually Kaio's account, and I only manage it a very little. It's a very long-term account. So let's go to the complete view here, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This is going to say Kaio. That doesn't mean it's Kaio. It's showing one of two accounts, so that's her information that I'm not showing at all. I don't want to show how or why that second account works or how much is in it or anything. There is a lot of money here, so sorry. That's how much money's in this account. That doesn't mean that's how much I make or anything else. It's just how much is in this account. It's not how much I have total. I have more than that total actually, but that's how much is in this account because this is the account we're going to use today to look at some of this stuff. And this is E-Trade, and this is what the E-Trade interface looks like. I'm hiding that account of Kaio's, and this is called a joint account. And when you're married with someone, you can operate a bank account jointly, and that's exactly what's going on with this. She has the E-Trade account, and she's put me on as a joint owner of this account, so that is why I am able to log in and do essentially everything on this account. This one's essentially mine, and the other one is essentially hers, and we don't compete or anything like that because of the circumstances are different because she has a employee stock plan and some other things on that account. So it's not really fair to even compare that. But anyway, um, this is that account, and then this is the current portfolio that I have. And you'll have to understand that this, when it says there's a total unrealized gain here, um, this is something that is not reflecting anything other than performance based on the end of the year. And the reason that that is because at the end of the year, I dumped all of the losses and repurchased them because at
You
the end,
bitch.
thank you for the follow, y'all's all rising. Just to fucking let you know, bitch. I don't normally just sit around and talk about stocks all day. So if you are new to this fucking channel, normally I'm getting pissed drunk or playing a video game and doing horribly at it. But there have been a lot of requests recently to look at stocks. So any stocks that I had that had posted losses uh, by the last trading day of 2020, I sold. And the reason I sold those stocks, and I often repurchased them immediately after that. The reason I did that is because if you take a loss um, in short-term trading, which is any trades that happen within a span of a year or less, you are allowed to deduct those losses from your total gains for that year, and you don't have to pay as much tax. So had I left those things sit in my account and they'd regained their money, I would never be able to capitalize on the fact that they had not made money during that year before. So I did a lot of dumping at the end. And yes, buy high, sell, buy low, sell high. Oh no, buy high, sell low. That's not right. Jose, you're nice and drunk. My 401k is not in here. Kaio's 401k is not in here. A 401k is something that's very different than this. This is self-managed investments, and so we do have 401ks. They're a very good deal usually, even though they're managed by um, financial advisors and things, and there are a lot of fees on them. The cool part about 401ks is usually your employer will fucking match those, and that match is usually at 50%. And in general, the fees that these financial advisors that you're required to use in many cases on those fees don't add up to near 50% of what you're doing. So you should look at your 401k, and that's not what we're going to talk about today, and see which options you have cost the least amount of fees. But in reality, you usually can't manage a 401k on your own. It depends on how your employer and the financial advisors that they choose, the financial company that they're issuing the 401k through, have their rules. Everyone's different. So um, we're not talking about 401ks. 401ks are not something you dump every year like this. You don't want to go and take your losses and reduce them, reduce your gains for the year on short-term stuff, because capital gains tax is paid in two ways: short-term and long-term gains. And short-term gains, which are gains that are from an investment that are a year or less, including day trading, those fucking gains are taxed at a higher rate, and that means that your refund as well from that are also a bigger amount of refund if you take a loss. So any losses that you have, even if you feel they're going to be going up in the future and you want to hold those stocks, you should still sell them at the end of the year if they're short term, and then rebuy them. And by doing that, you'll have realized the loss of that money at the time that you sold it, and then you get it back. And any gains you get, you could keep long term. Even you could go long term if things go positive for the next year, and you don't have um, unrealized losses at the end of the next year. You could hold those, and then you pay a lower tax rate on them. So that's what that's all about, and it is. Yep, I started this with a $5,000 account 3 years ago. So this is definitely uh, definitely some successful trading that I've had. I'm very lucky that I have not ever posted a loss at the end of tax time. So I've always had to pay capital gains tax every year for about 4 years, and that's just part of life. You've got to pay your taxes, and I'm sure there's some way to dodge it, and I don't care. But it probably involves becoming a politician. So if I thought about the Roblox IPO, I've thought about it, but no, I'm not doing that. I don't understand how someone could get interested in stocks. Let me tell you why you might want to get interested in stocks, and this is very easy to not understand if you are living in a way where you are consuming your monthly income completely. Because why bother putting your money into stocks if you're not saving money? But if you're sitting money in a bank account, just sitting it there in a checking account and building that money up, say you've got 1,000 in your checking account, and the next month you've got 1,200 in your checking account, and the next month you've got 1,400 in your checking account. If you're building that amount of money up, that balance of your checking account over time, you are going to miss out on the opportunity for that money to get to go up to increase without you actually having to do a lot of work. There's a little bit of work. Managing this stuff is you can't just fall asleep at the wheel with this stuff. If you fall asleep at the wheel, you're losing opportunity to gain more money. It's kind of a job, but it's a job that you control your own hours on. If you ever feel you're in a position that is extremely risky if you don't monitor it, you can get out of that position so that you can take a vacation and then come back and reinvest in it later. But also, if things go well during that time, you're going to miss out on that as well. But the reason you want um, to get into stocks is if you have money just sitting there, because money just sitting there should be getting larger over time for you. It's something that you can do. Millions and millions of people do it. People do it as financial advice. There's lots of ways to make your money increase, and there's a risk level with each one. Just buying a stock and then never looking at it is pretty risky, I think, from a personal perspective. But it's still something you can do, and a lot of people gain a lot of money. And over time, if you look at the Dow over time, I'm gonna have to pull this up and just put um, the Dow over time and just have a look at the consistency. I'm using the wrong computer. I have three computers here. It's ridiculous. If you had the camera on, you could see it. It's insane. Anyway, a lot of people. Um, okay, max. Let's go max. All right, have a look at this. So this is since like 1981, which is when I was born. So if my father had invested in the stock market $1,000 when I was born, he would currently have $30,000. That's pretty good. And its curve is pretty consistent over time. This is pretty safe. We definitely see some periods of time where things go bad and we see some crashing happen. This is a big one here. Look at that. That's a big crash. Look at the capitalization that could be done here, which I certainly did. Um, the uh, the stock dropped to 25K and it went up to 30. So that's a big percentage change really quick. But anyway, essentially, so far, long term, the market continues to grow. And short term, things go wrong sometimes. So you want to understand if you're doing this that you either are managing your risk like daily by looking at things and making decisions and reading the news so that you don't take the full brunt of something like this. This happened over several days. This happened between the time period of let's look at that time period here where this occurred. Um, Year to date, I think. No, 1 year. That's what we need. So this started taking this nosedive like this in February on the 21st. And it nosedived all the way down until March 20th. So if you're paying attention and you decide to mitigate the risk of something like this happening, which is what I did, I sold right about here from when I was currently doing it. And then I came back, as you saw, in around June, which is right here. This is about where I came back. And then you gain everything back at that point from it. If I had come back and invested in March, which I'm not sure I did, I think I did it in June. But if you come back in March, it'll come back up. And the reason I did it in June was not because of the Dow. The Dow was already recovering. It was because of the individual stocks that I was investing in, not the whole market. I wasn't even looking at the whole market. I was looking at the airline industry and other stuff. But anyway, that's why you want to invest in stocks, because over time they grow. Corporations grow, and if you don't put all your chickens in one basket, you're kind of guaranteed for the money that you're not using to become worth more later. And that's how people end up retiring. What they end up doing is they collect enough money that the amount of growth that is occurring here is greater than the amount of income that they spend per year. And when that happens, they don't need to work anymore. And that's my goal. So anyway, let's go back to here and look at more of the chat. I'm sorry for not. I'm still answering the guy who is like, why would you do that? NWEET 53. That was the reason. Um, Buy high, sell low is what happens when you short Koze. So if you see a stock that you feel is going to fail, you can short sell that stock and you can fucking gain money from its loss. You can only gain up to double from a short sale, and you can lose so much. If a stock you short sold uh, gains 400% value, you will actually lose 400% of your money. You'll have to pay more than you invested. You'll actually you need to have money in what's called a margin account so that you can actually pay additionally from what you invested. And a lot of brokers actually will shut you down if you go over the amount that you're there and sell your stock without your consent at that high rate because they want you to pay up, and then you have no choice but to take that loss. So be very, very, very careful if you decide to short sell, not to exceed margin limits and things like that, because you can really get burned. Some people, there are some awful stories. It's rare of people just getting their whole fucking life savings wiped out in one fell swoop by shorting a stock like a pharmaceutical that ends up going up 400%, and then they exceed their margin requirements and stuff, and then the brokerage account takes action to further mitigate any losses they might incur, and then you have to pay it all. That's fucked. Uh, something something free money is right. It's not free. Again, you have to manage it, and you have to have it first too. If it was free money, anybody on the street could just say, "Give me money." You have to actually have money that you're willing to lose. Again, like it's like going to a casino where the odds are in your favor more than the house's odds are in the favor of the house uh, in real casinos. Real casinos tend to shave about 5% off of the people who go in there every time by the odds. You can get more than 5% with this over time. As you can see, per year, if you think about it, it's gone up 30 times what the value it was in 1981. It's 40 years from now. So it's basically going up at a rate of close to double every year, which is ridiculous. It honestly is ridiculous how high it can gain in value. So again, not free. It costs something to not spend your money. It costs your ability to act and shit like that. 60K from the past year uh, from day trading, that's very good. I have not achieved that. But I don't know how much he initially started with either. When you when you post your gains, you should post it as a percentage uh, to tell what kind of performance you had. So uh, if you're starting with $1,000 and you make $200, that to me is more impressive than someone who has $400,000 and ends up making $60,000 or whatever, or make $500,000 and then makes $60,000, because the person with the higher percentage yield actually did a better job of managing their investments than the person who had more money. But the person who had more money makes more money. That's how it works. And also, this all applies to if you lose money too. When you lose money, you have to make decisions about whether or not you want to sell the stock or whether you want to wait it out and see whether or not uh, the price fluctuation is not permanent. If you had invested in Pier 1 imports, for example, last year or the year before or whatever, and started noticing it going down, which it did because retail is garbage and it's hard to make money in retail nowadays, Pier 1 went bankrupt. That's the end for that. If you end up holding out and not managing your investment at that point, you're gone. You're a goner at that point. So you lose all the money. And bankruptcy happens. I have one stock that I invested in which went bankrupt. It is this stock. This is LNGF. It is liquefied natural gas. It is a energy stock from Australia. They create liquefied natural gas. They're not a profitable company. They were in the thralls of bankruptcy and crashing and crashing and crashing and crashing. And at the time that they were crashing, the share price had been reduced to 5.74 per share. That's the price paid here. That's how much I paid. I paid 6.7 cents a share, which is uh, not a lot. And I bought 1,000 shares. which means I bought $60 of this stock. I did not buy it to make a lot of money. I bought it because I thought it was possible that these shares would be converted into another company as this bankruptcy goes through. And that actually is still a possibility. These shares are still not totally gone. They're not devalued completely. They are a fifth of a cent right now is what they're worth, which is absolutely garbage. But it still could come back because they're still in court about a lot of this. So if that court stuff ends up going favorably, this could go a lot more value. This could get a lot more value. For example, there's another part of that company here. Those are limited shares. It's very weird. But there's another part of that company here, also liquid natural gas. This is worth $61.99 a share, but this is a parent company that purchased all of it, including uh, the liquefied natural gas of Australia as well. So there's court in session determining whether or not my shares get converted to this. If they do, then I will have 1,000 times this. It's worth my $60 gamble to possibly see a outcome like that happen. That would be insane. It could be anything between me losing $60 to me gaining ridiculous amounts. So that's why I made that calculated risk, and it's a small amount. So, but this is currently a stock I can't sell. I'm not allowed to legally sell this stock. If I go into this stock and do try to make a sale, if I go in here and trade and I try to sell this, and I try to sell all 1,000 quantities for a limit. This is how you place an order, by the way. You go in there and you say, this is the highest price that I will, or lowest price, excuse me, that I will sell this stock at. And I say that the lowest price that I'll sell it for is uh, 10 cents, which is not what I really want to do. But 10 cents a share, say it's good for the day. I can say whether or not I'm allowing people to buy 100 of those shares or they have to buy the whole 1,000 to get the deal. And then when I preview the offer, you'll notice that I have this notice here that says that this orders for this can't be accepted online. And the reason why is because there's a pending litigation involving these shares. So I have to sit and wait. And depending on how that decision goes in Australia, I will either lose $60 or gain a lot of money. We'll see. But anyway, a lot of these are, this is the portfolio now, and it's interesting. A lot of these ones are here just because they are going to be getting dividend payments very quickly. So something you should understand about total gain here is that total gain does not include dividend payments. And when a company is about to make a dividend payment, they generally take a loss that's around the amount of the payment that's about to be made. So let's find one of these things that has a dividend payment. This one does. So I think this one does anyway. Let's look. If you look at a single stock, it'll come in like this. So it's $6.89 a share for this Gilead Satellite Networks, and you can see here there are some things that happen. So this is a X dividend date, and what this is the date that you have to own the stock by in order to receive a dividend payment. And this is making a 63-cent dividend payment on 1/20 of 2021. So this price here um, is reflecting the fact that everyone who owns this stock understands that if you own it by the 8th, you're also going to uh, have 63 cents more, which is about 10% of this value here that's seen. So you've got to think about that these payments are going to come in before you actually factor in whether or not it's worth what it is. And the EX dividend date is when basically you're looking at the stock without the dividend at all. If you purchase the stock on the 8th, you will not receive the dividend. The person who previously owned it will receive the dividend. So that is a complicated part, and dividends are paid outside of these percentage earnings and reported separately. So It's just something that ends up happening, and uh, a lot of stocks have dividends, and some of them are paid at different frequencies. It's like a month, and they do quarterly dividends and yearly dividends, and then occasional dividends where they don't have a frequency or schedule where they do that. Um, yes, of course. Nuit, off topic. Of course, I know about Porter Robinson. His brother and I are good friends. His brother was on Put It in Your Mouth with me. Put It in Your Mouth LA. We did a whole episode together. So, yeah, I know Porter and Nick, and I'm very, very pleased with the fact that that song got so popular, and I'm honored that he put me in there. Honestly, he's a great DJ, and he makes good music. Uh, the I'm sorry that you are minus 4K. X all Z all rising. Did you manage your stocks daily, or did you buy and then just forget? And did you have a financial advisor or not? I'm interested in what you've been doing with your investments, if you've been managing them yourself, or whether or not you just decided I'm going to buy some stocks and just sit and see what happens. Because a lot of people are down right now who just sat, and they will probably balance back out given what the market is doing in response to the vaccinations. I can't tell that for a certain. Over time, if you just let it sit there, unless you really pick shitty companies or risky ones, you're probably going to see that go away. You could also decide to cut your loss. These are all decisions you have to make, but I'm really wondering, X all, Z all, if you actually manage them or if you just left them in there. Um, I don't do options. This account's not enabled for options, so I don't have any good advice for how to do calls and puts or any of that. So I'm not going to go into that because I'm not having any experience. I've got my 4 years experience and my results for this. I've gotten a lot of money just doing regular stock management. That's all I can say. Uh, cor- Re- Republicans versus Democrats search result where? I did do some search. Did I? Where? I forgot why I did that, but yeah, I did do a Republicans versus Democrats search result for some reason. But I forgot it was a weird. That was a weird thing I was trying to figure out. I wanted to figure out something, but I forgot what it was. Anyway, I did do a search like that recently, but it was something weird. It wasn't just like uh, headset batteries has reached the end of its usable life. It only holds about 20 minutes of charge now, so that sucks. I did replace it. Uh, but Koze is asking, how did I know it was going to drop so low? Um, I saw the pattern over time. I think I saw it lose about 6%. And I always read the news. I read the news every morning and every afternoon, and I make sure I think about what I've got my money in and whether or not the news is going to have a immediate impact, positive or negative of it, especially whether or not there are any decisions that are going to be made that are going to affect it in the future. And I think about what the effects of those decisions would be. So at that time, the pandemic was starting to become realized by people. People were starting to understand that it was serious. The government was kind of hiding it and hiding uh, its severity at that time too. But people were starting to make decisions based on the fact that so many people were getting sick. And I did, first of all, I saw the results, which was like 6% down at that point, and uh, I made a choice, and the choice was to look at the risk of what would happen if they decided to shut down things to try to protect people versus what would happen if they didn't decide to shut down things. And I decided that if they did decide to shut down things, that the stock market would probably crash between 20 and 50%. And that if they didn't, that we would not see a significant rally as a result of them just deciding that it was another swine flu or whatever. And I've been through pandemics before, and not really like this, but we've experienced pandemics that did not turn out to be like total shit shows like this one was. And I wasn't sure how it was gonna go, but I could kind of smell it. I could smell it
You
when the
bitch.
fucking managers at your job are talking about whether or not they're gonna be letting people work home and shit like that, and when the government's acting all shifty and not telling everybody everything openly, it's kind of a litmus test to things uh, being serious. And I was just like, I'm not taking any more losses. The 6% is 6%, and it's not much. And I'd already gained tons and tons on all of the investments that I had before I lost that 6%. So the total gain wasn't 6%. It had been a 6% loss since that high point. And I was like, I'm not going to take this loss. And I pulled it all out. Everything went to cash. It all went back into what's known as just cash. And in these accounts, you can actually have more money in the account than you have invested, in which case you'll have cash available to withdraw, as well as you will have cash available to invest immediately, which is good for reacting to things. And you can sell it all right now. I could sell every single stock in my portfolio right now, and I would just be stuck with $47,000 in this account and whatever other accounts I'd have to do it with too. And then uh, I could decide at any other time, given any big event, the when we had gone through the brunt of the losses. And when this event happened, it was so severe that let's have a look at a couple of these. Let's look at this one. This is an airline. Certain uh, companies did uh, they took more damage than other companies. So if we look at this, see, this is the June point. This is when I invested again, and look what happened. Um, the the reason that I invested in June was because I don't look at the whole market. I look at each individual one of the stocks that I invest in. Let me see. Is this 6 months? Yes. Oh, it's not good enough. I need 9 months. Can we do this? Yes. Okay. Let's get a whole year. Okay. So in March, um, when I pulled out, um, this stock, I didn't have this stock. I would never have invested in the airlines because there were more profitable choices before the pandemic. The airlines were valued fairly at the time that the pandemic struck. So I really don't buy stocks that I feel are valued at their actual value. Usually, I try to fucking. Can you not hear now, or can you? That was. You can hear now, right? I did take care of that headphone problem, right? Uh, I fucking hope so. I see the mic meter going here, so I think it's going. Um, again, I don't do crypto because it's not tangible. The shrimp shit will now be shown. So, for any of you who don't watch my gaming streams, you can see some shrimp shit if you want, which I'm about to show. Here it is.
Look at this. This is the most fucking diarrhea shit. This shit sells on the market. My fucking special dish. Look at this shit.
This is the most fucking diarrhea shit.
So to give you some context as to what that is, those are the intestines of tons of shrimp that I removed and put to the side because it's a delicacy, and then I breaded it and ate it on video. Anyway, that's what that is. So keep in mind if you're taking investment advice from me that you're taking investment advice from a dude that eats fucking shit, fried shit in real life. Anyway, so yeah, in the end, cash. You don't know what cash is. So cash is any just money that you have in currency, which is recognized by the Exchange and Securities Commission as a tradable currency, like Japanese yen or Chinese yuan or American dollars. And that cash can't be tied up in any kind of um, ownership of anything. It has to be spendable, liquid, so to speak. That's what cash is. Uh, did I lose since Bitcoin is much higher today? Oh, how did you lose? I'm sure he invested in Bitcoin when it was high before, and then it crashed down, and he got panicked and decided he didn't want to lose all that money and sold it. I did eat poo poo guts. Yes. I breaded it and fried it and ate it. The scary thing is probably all of you have eaten poo poo guts too, in the shrimp that people don't clean and serve all over America, which they do. Uh, how is cash more tangible than a coin? The There can be very good arguments. People like Rand Paul make arguments about it all the time. The cash is essentially also worthless, but the cash is supposed to be backed by tangible assets. The government has these treasury notes are backed by precious metals and government assets. We don't have enough of those precious metals and government assets to cover all of the cash that we have printed now, but we have enough to cover it at a value that is not nothing. So if some reason people realize that the Federal Reserve has been printing too much money and that the actual value of the dollar is not what it really is, and the value of the dollar goes down, it won't go down into nothing because it's nothing. It'll go down to what the government can actually cover in actual value for the treasury notes they use. So in in the that's why you see these banana republics with their currency go down to almost nothing because they have nothing to back it. And it's all about the power of the government and its ability to do worldwide trade, whether or not that money is retaining its value or not, and what's backing it up. Because not just all the gold in Fort Knox, that's not the only thing that backs the dollar. It's also all of the goods and services that the United States as a country provides in trade on the worldwide scene that cuts the value of that, and the GDP and all that. It's fun economics. But in the end, Bitcoin isn't tied to any country's trading at all. It's tied to whether or not a computer has been connected and is making chains of bits that make the pattern complete. It's mining, so to speak. If you mine a block and you find a block that gets added to the data that makes up the total existence of any cryptocurrency, that 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 money goes to that person for free for using electricity and finding some sort of algorithm. There's no real value in doing that. If I go, um, like, if I, it's hard to explain because there's no real value in a paper dollar bill either. There is real value in a penny. You can melt that down and it's actually worth more in precious metals, not non-precious metals, than it is in its own monetary value at this point. But so that could be argued that cash is metal or whatever, but it's really not. You can't just go convert all your cash to pennies and melt them down. But Bitcoin is, we don't give money out so much to like people who plug in things. It's not tangible. It's it's a I understand it's a branch off to try to like say no, we don't believe in the government run monetary systems and all that, and it does work to do that kind of payment as long as everybody buys into it. It's like the emperor's new clothes, where as long as everybody watching the parade says that the emperor's cloak is blue and beautiful, then it's not just a fucking old naked dude trotting down the streets with his pubes hanging out. That's the difference. But in reality, what you have is a bunch of people wasting electricity in their homes to come up with algorithms that don't do anything, actually, that don't have any real value other than justifying the creation of another coin in that currency. So it just it doesn't add up to me. I think it's not real, and it doesn't matter. You can profit off of it, and it's as real as it is until it's not. Just like the emperor's clothes are as real as they are until they're not too. But I'm just afraid one day people are going to be like, this ain't worth nothing, or someone's going to regulate that it can't be used somewhere. And as soon as people start doing that, it's fucking over. And then you lose whatever you've got in it at that point. So that's fucking crypto. Uh, but they definitely, you can make money in all kinds of ways. Like you can go to Vegas and make money too. Like I'm not saying you can't make money investing in Bitcoin. There's a bunch of people who invested in Bitcoin and made a bunch of money. I'm just saying that there are a bunch of people, and the more there is Bitcoin, the more people have their money in Bitcoin. There's a bunch of people who, if it tomorrow is regulated into non-existence or got it just crashed for any other number of arbitrary reasons, including people's accounts being suspended, lost, data being lost, any kind of thing could happen that would cause mass chaos. It will be gone for everybody who has it at that time. It'll all be gone. And everyone will have a heartbreak story instead of a success story. And it's as simple as that number changing before that would occur. And I just like things uh, where something like that can't occur in a couple seconds. Like Walmart can't just be gone in a couple seconds. That's not going to happen. There'd be court and all kinds of things that would happen before Walmart would just disappear. And crypto could just drop like a stone any fucking minute. And I do, just for the sake of fucking, I haven't even shown any real trading. I wanted to day trade today a little bit just to show a little bit of day trading. I could do it, some ridiculously stupid day trade I could do for like $100 and just see what we can do. But uh, crypto BTC price. This is going to be a big slope as well, so it's interesting to look at that. Um, so this is the Bitcoin price. You can see that compared to the Dow, it's very different. What you see here are 1, 2, 3 flags. All of these places are where they hit tops before they went down. And you can see this is very high. This is huge. This was a huge gain, followed by a massive devaluation. If anyone had bought at this point right here, they would have had to wait 2 years to not lose money there. Otherwise, they lost it. And a lot of people can't wait. A lot of people don't have patience and don't divorce themselves from their money when they invest them. And you should divorce yourself from your money when you make an investment. It should be gone. It's play money at that point. You're playing a game with that money. You can't need it for anything. If you need the money that you're investing in, you will lose it. You will lose the money because it ultimately your needs will come before the need for you to be able to react in a way that doesn't cause you to lose it. And you can't be doing that. You got to not need this money. All that money in that account, I don't need any of that. That if it went away tomorrow, if that 50K was gone, I would live the same exact life that I've got now. Nothing would change at all. I would not. I would be sad I lost $50,000, but nothing would change. I would still actually have a ton left. So you can't be you got to be willing to lose the money you're playing with. You have to be willing. Um, let's look at some stuff. Let's see what's going on in the market right now. Let's see if there's anything ridiculous happening. So day trading is interesting because you're trying to do things. You're trying to turn it over. You buy it and you sell it within the same day. You can even do it within the same minutes. Let's see if we can make a stupid day trade. We could lose or gain money, but we're not going to spend a lot because I don't do a lot of day trading nowadays. But let's just see what's out there and see if we can make some money. So I want to see the markets right here, and I want to look at activity because day trading is based on activity and on short-term trends. So let's go ahead and see. I know on my phone how to get, here's movers. So market movers here. We can look at percent gainers and losers and active. And you can see some ridiculous things here. We've got this SYN. It's another pharmaceutical that apparently got some great news of some kind. And they are currently at 123% of the value they were at previously. And they are sitting at $1.12, which is just above the limit for short orders. So if we look at this, this is also on a trend down today from a high of a lot more. I'm going to see if I can short this stock, and we'll see what happens. I go to sell short. You have to put a limit order in if you're buying a short sale for something like this. It's probably going to be hard to borrow. So let's take a price type of limit, and let's put a limit of, unfortunately this is not really real time, let's put a limit price of 114 on there, and let's put a quantity of 100 because I don't want to invest a lot of money in this because this could go south. And I would do a lot more. I only do this kind of day trading if it's a sure thing. Like if it's something I think that something retarded's happening, something got really overvalued or people overreacting to something, or if something dropped way below what its real value is and people are overreacting to something. Essentially, day trading is capitalizing on people overreacting to shit. So make that good for a day. I'm going to preview it, and they're going to tell me there are no shares available to borrow, and the reason there's no shares available to borrow is this is so fucking overvalued that every available borrowed share has already been taken by other investors. This happens all the time. So especially for these fucking pink stock uh, things that just gain value really quickly, you're not going to be able to capitalize on the overreaction of that necessarily. Let's look at some of these other guys that are really high. See if we can make a short that's significant. Peck Company Holdings. Let's look at this thing. So this one's also on its way down. It's still really, really up, but this thing actually managed to crest around 12, and it's still, though, up a huge amount. Can we get a short of this? This is, I want only 10 of this if we do it. Usually you can't get a short on these insane things, but it's possible sometimes to get it. Just going to put a limit price of 11.31 on there, make it good for the day, preview the order, and we can't borrow the shares. So no surprise there. That's too bad. You never have the problem of doing this if you decide to hop on a train of something that's going up in value. So if we are taking a look at the graph, if this thing was going up, spiking up, we could actually try to take advantage of people's enthusiasm that this is going up so insanely high. But I don't want to touch this thing at all. But this thing is a scary stock. But I have short sold this before, actually. If I look at my transaction histories, I'm pretty sure that I short sold that bitch. I'm not going to go in there, but I did a couple weeks ago and got quite a bit. But God, doesn't look like there's anything really ripe today. I don't know if I checked this one. This one could have some juice on it still, but it's not looking great. But since we have 5 minutes, let's just do it and see what happens. It's not a smart choice. It's good to look at the news and see whether or not there's a good justification of why this is happening to any stock. But anyway, this is still not smart. It's just a matter of I want to show. I'm going to buy this one and buy it at market value, which means I'm going to buy it at whatever the last price is, and or whatever the last buy ask is. So you look at the bid and ask and see what the spread is. It's about a cent, so that's no big deal. And let's do it. Let's preview it. And let's place that order. All right, so that's been placed. So I should have now 50 shares. I just got the notification on my phone. I now have 50 shares of Check Capital. Let's go ahead and go in here and look at it and see what it looks like in the account. And I'm going to sell it very quickly because I have to go to work and I can't watch it. It's only $100. I don't care, but this is the kind of thing you can do after you get it. Go into the portfolios and you can look in there and say, okay, where's check? It's in there. There it is. And there's how much it's gained. Here's how much I've gained since I bought it. It's down already 1% since I got it. And let's see here. Wait, I need to remember something. I need to remember what I bought it at. That's the most important thing. What did I buy this at? I paid 208 and a half for this. So I want to sell it above that amount. So then you just go into here and you can refresh this bitch anytime you want. It'll tell you what it's at. And there's a lot of volume of trade in here for this thing. It's at 208 now, 209. So I could have sold it at 209. You could put a limit order saying, I want to make this much money off of this. And you can just say that that's the money you want to make, or you can watch it and just decide at some point when you want to sell it. So we're sitting at zero loss, zero gain right now. And this is not as exciting as if there's something really ripe out there. I generally check what's popping and see if anything ridiculous is happening. I don't see anything ridiculous happening today. There's nothing that says this is great to do as a day trade right now that I see and that I want to just be like, this is so smart, do it yourself. Don't do this. But you just sit here and let's give ourselves what I consider to be a very fair chance to win a percentage off of this guy. So let's go to sell, and I'm going to go to sell this. It's at 209 right now, and I'm going to sell my 50 shares of this for a limit, and it's 209, so that's 4. If I want to make a percent off of this, it has to go up by 2, so that would be like 211. I make these shares available at $2.11, and I am going to preview it. That's the price I'm willing to sell it at, and I'm placing the order. So now I can sit there and wait, and when that hits 211, I will have made a percent. If it doesn't hit 211 ever again, I will not make that money. I will lose money depending on how far it goes down. So I can go in, and normally I put it higher than a percent if I'm day trading, but this is just as an example of how this works because I only have 3 minutes. If my phone goes delint, I will have made a percent on my $100, which is $1, which is not that much. But when you're talking about $100,000, things change, and a percent becomes $1,000, which is a lot of money. That's a lot of money to make in one little second. So if you know what you're doing is low risk, and you can do that, you can do it. Day trading is always kind of risky, but there's still risk in between it all. So I'm going to look at those accounts again, have a see at my fucking account. Come on, where I don't want orders, I want accounts. Complete view. I heard something. Felt like someone gave me an alert of some kind. Joint TWOS. Let's do this. And do I still have my check? I don't think I do. Oh, I do. There it is. Still down at 207. Don't think we're going to see it get up to that value by the time the stream is done, in which case I'm going to probably sell it at a loss. But that is how day trading winds up working. You sit there and you make the trades happen in real time within the day, and you have to sit there and kind of watch it the whole time, which is a lot to do. And again, not particularly recommended because things can go south pretty quick with this stuff if you don't pay attention to it. See, it's just bouncing around, but nothing's hitting up there at that fucking at that percent gain since I put it in there. Nothing's changing. Since it's only $100, I'm probably gonna leave that shit in there. And you can also put a stop loss order in there on the opposite side of the market if you want. And that way, say I want to limit my loss to 5% maximum, you could put a stop loss order in there and sell that stock on that price that's 5% less, as well as, or not sell. Yeah, sell. You sell the side on the other side of the market. Put another limit order in for the lower amount. That way, you can get some protection from extreme loss in there. Let's read the last questions, and I've unfortunately got to go. That's my meeting I have to go to. So it looks like I haven't gotten a phone notification. It looks like this one did not gain money. It is going down, and that happens a lot for these insane ones that are out on the market with on the market movers with these huge amounts. It's usually more successful shorting these things, usually, because in the end, you can see what's been going on since 10 o'clock. This has not been going up, so it's probably not going to go up It's just a poor example, which is why we're only putting in $100 just to show it. But let me get rid of this so that I don't have to deal with it. I'm just going to sell it at market. I have an order open. I have to close my open order. God damn it. I usually do this all on my phone, so it's kind of hard to go in here. Let's cancel this order. It's gone. Go in there and sell it. At a loss of how many percent? We'll find out very shortly. And then I gotta go to work. Anyway, I play long and I play with dividend stocks. So the majority of my money, I do manage it daily, but I don't do day trading for the most part, because this is what can happen, and you have to sit there all the time. It would have to be my full-time job to day trade. Uh, I'm certain I could make money if I spent all day, but how much would it be? Would it be worth my trouble? Would it be as much as I make it work? Probably not. There we go. I've lost about 1%, which is not too bad, but in the end, it's also still not a gain. It's kind of sucky. Sell this at the market price and be done with it. Hmm? Oh, huh? Thought I had 50 shares of this. Let me go back. Did it sell at the high price? Did I get my percent? No, I didn't. How many shares do I have? 50? Yeah. Should be able to just sell it. Fuck if I know what's going on. That doesn't even make sense. But anyway, I have to go to work, so unfortunately I can't even fucking see that through. But it's just $100, and it'll probably lose like 2 or 3 cents, or $3. So I didn't cancel the order. That's what happened. All right, well I'll cancel that bitch. Anyway, you guys have a motherfucking good day. I'll be back playing regular games again the next day. I just wanted to show you some of this shit because it is uh, it's interesting, and people can get into this if they are not financial managers or anything. They can start. You can start with a small amount and measure your performance based on percentages, not based on how much money you actually make. All right, peace, you bitch.